Testing 1, 2, 3. Hello, and welcome to Season 20, Episode 7 of Happy Jacks RPG Podcast. My name is Stu.
My name is Gina.
I'm not Gina, and I'm not Stu.
He's the fabulous dork.
Fabulous?
Just Therefore. Being on the down low and shy.
Sometimes you're...
Infamous?
That's better.
I don't know about your face. That's my favorite line. Glow. If you have not watched Glow on Netflix, Mark Maron kills every scene he's in.
I believe it's Mayron, actually.
Is it Mark Mayron?
I don't even care. That show's awesome.
Yeah. Kills me.
Yeah.
I don't know about your face. Sometimes I'm like, yeah, she's fucking hot. Other times I'm like,
I tried to get on that show. There was
oh, really?
Yeah, I know the people working on it and everything, but they have a really smart game crew this year because pretty much everything that they did, they saved. So,
oh, really?
They don't need a lot of new people.
Well, and hello, Glow, low budget.
Kind of.
No, I mean like the real Glow.
But it takes a lot of money to make something look low budget.
No.
It takes a lot of nerve to have nothing at your age.
Yeah. I think I'm playing
my favorite Ishtar quote ever.
A game at Big Bad Con that's called
Only good Ishtar quote
Slam.
ever.
That's in Worldwide Wrestling, so I'm excited.
Oh, awesome.
Glam Slam.
Glam
Slam?
Yeah, because I want to play Glow ladies.
I met Queen Kong once.
Did you really?
She used to do these things called slamograms. I guess her manager.
Yeah.
And so my buddy was getting married or whatever, and so they bought him slamograms. So she came in, and it was a room full of people my height.
Aww.
She came in, and she's like, "This is the tallest group of bachelors I have ever had to deal with."
And she's tall.
Well, she was all right. She was like 6'1", 6'2", but also just big.
Yeah.
But she slammed everybody on the couch, and she was strong and a big woman. I think she's in a wheelchair now. But
she is. There's a documentary about it.
Yeah.
And
Matilda the Hun, I think is the other one.
And she was like in she's like wheelchair ridden.
Gravity is a cruel mistress, and when you're a wrestler stunt woman, as she was for many years, she beats you up. But she was also Matilda Hund, I think was another one of her names. So go look her up. Anyway, she was a good sport, and you know, I can tell you that wrestling isn't real, but she was strong enough to pick me up and throw me down.
That's funny.
On a couch safely.
I'm totally picturing that. It's kind of cute.
I might even have a picture of it somewhere.
Do you?
I was really young. It was like 1988.
I want to see that.
I think my sister hired her for my brother's birthday.
Because she had that was like her side job between the glow gigs. Right. She was making, it's like, clearly I'm not a stripper.
Yeah. Who wouldn't want that? Oh, there's a...
Hi!
Yeah.
Hi, Raven.
I saw the door. It was like a total poltergeist.
Did you lock yourself out?
I just totally closed the house.
That's okay. I thought it was a puppy because the door was like going...
I know. Oh, it's my other daughter. She locked herself out.
I know. Your hair is fantastic, too.
And probably called my phone, which I don't have with me. And then figured out where I was.
Kicked the door a few times. I knew exactly where you were. I was like, you know what? I was like... Yeah, I'm just gonna bust into his session. I was at his house and I'm like knocking. I'm like, no, I'm just gonna walk into his house.
That's how you do.
I'm like, there's a dog. He could eat me. He could eat me. But he didn't.
But no, he will nuzzle you and want petting.
For you.
Bye, Raven.
Bye.
Nice to meet you guys.
Bye.
In this episode, Brian writes in.
Audio is super hot.
Is it too hot? All right.
Yeah.
In this episode, Brian writes in about drama versus foolishness. Remus writes in with an urgent request for advice, and this time it's not a month late. Gene from Elk Grove writes in with a thank you, and Mike from Michigan sends us an update about a horror story. But first, if you'd like to email us at happyjacksrpg@gmail.com. That's happyjacksrpg@gmail.com. We're on the social medias. We're on Twitter, happyjacksrpg, all one word, and also Instagram, happyjacksrpg, all one word. You can also find us on Facebook. Just do a search. It's easy. And also, if you'd like to watch the show live, we stream the show every Friday night at 8 p.m. Pacific time, happyjacks.org/live. And we got a game convention coming up in February.
Yeah.
I'm not. Is this
16th, 17th, 18th?
Orcon. Yeah.
17th, 16th?
Yeah. 16, 17, 18, 19.
Yeah.
Yep.
I've got 2 games on there. I don't remember what they are.
I may not stay in the hotel this year. We'll see for that one.
I already booked a room. The kids are like, we're going to go again, right? Yeah, we're going to go.
Me too, and you should probably do that because the NBA All-Star game is
Oh,
in
that's
town.
right.
That's why I'm saying I may not.
If you are local or not, and you're planning on going to Orcon, book your rooms.
They're going to get paid.
You know what?
Yeah.
I should do it, and then I can go down there and scalp tickets. Got a room, got a free room, got a room, got a room, right? You know?
Yeah,
500, 600 bucks.
wheels on the fucker.
Yeah.
You can ride the elevators with all the fancy, fabulous-looking people, and we'll be all, you know.
All right, so they fix the elevators. They're not nearly as crappy, and they seem smaller, don't they?
Right? Yeah, because everybody's beautiful and tall, and
Well, but they're smaller, and then you have to like tell them where you're going first, so people like get confused. It's lame.
that's true.
It was always faster to just use the 2 old elevators.
Yeah.
Yes.
They have these new elevators. They're called smart elevators.
Yeah.
So instead of having a button to go up or down, you pick your floor. You put 1 through, I don't know, what is it, 18 there or 17 or something.
Yeah.
And you pick your
16,
floor,
17.
and then somehow it supposedly smartly routes the elevators to get everyone where they're going quicker.
Most efficient, right? But when there's a convention going on,
Nah.
and 2 of the elevators are down because they're installing the other smart elevators.
No,
not so much.
the other 2 elevators were the old kind. So you could go over there and just press those buttons, and they would just come. You go in, press the button, and
No, because it was hanging, like the things were hanging out on my floor.
No,
like,
I think that's
not
just a thing
usable.
the staff does because it's funny. I
Oh,
think
okay.
they always have one elevator that doesn't work, so they can watch everybody get really pissed off and frustrated, and then they all work perfectly fine. But the other thing about the smart elevators is, you know how when the little kid gets on and he's like poking stuff, you can't tell that. You get on the elevator and there's no one on there that looks guilty, but it stops at every effing floor.
That's because they do it from the
From
the hallway.
from the
now.
landing
Yeah.
page thing.
Lame.
Yeah, right?
Lame. I didn't think they could make it any lamer.
Smart.
But they did. They figured it out. They figured out a way to
don't
make
think
their
so.
elevators
Yeah.
even
It's like
lamer.
Uber. The elevators are like Uber now.
Well, how's that?
Yeah.
Well,
Do they molest
this is
you on
where
the way
I'm
up?
going. Oh, you're going there too. Well, we're going to share an elevator, and it tells you which elevator you're going to take. So you go and stand in front of it, and then you see every other elevator open and close twice before your elevator.
Does it berate you and molest you on your way up and down?
Uber doesn't do that anymore.
Not anymore?
It costs extra.
Okay.
Drama versus foolishness from Brian. Greetings, douchebag men and other footpads. I don't get that one. I'm still
Bagman. Bagman was another name for bandit. It was a bagman.
Oh, okay.
And a footpad. A
Got
footpad
it.
is also a bandit. All right.
I'm still seriously working my way through your question and corn-riddled backlog.
Oh my God.
I am encroaching quickly on Season 10 territorial waters in the porcelain bowl that holds Happy Jack's efforts.
You know, that's probably the most poetic. Yeah, still, I know.
No, I swear, I'm going to have, there's a next card next time that happens.
Yeah.
I'm going to be like, tagging on the scat humor.
Do you need like, is this a trigger warning?
The truth is, I don't want to hear about corn unless it's like candy corn.
Ugh.
And it's, oh, you guys are insane.
Candy corn is gross.
Candy corn is awesome.
The only cool thing is they make vampire teeth out of it.
Oh, totally. Who didn't do that? Like, yeah, that was awesome.
I've got an actual question in addition to coprological abuse.
Okay.
I've had some players swashbuckle across bars into a swinging dive from a chandelier and given them a +2 because it's cool.
I wanna die.
Yeah.
From the chandelier. Oh, now we gotta pay Sia, don't we? Sorry, never mind.
No, because I don't even know what you were thinking.
I want to swing from the chandelier.
Okay. No, you totally outed yourself. I could have pretended. I just couldn't even tell. It was like one note
I actually like
different.
her because she's written songs for a lot of other people that you don't know. And then finally she's like, F this, they're all making tons of money on my stuff. And so she did it and made tons of money. Good on her.
I've had another player charge a group of zombies alone and killed that PC. No fiat. I rolled every single attack and it was over quick. But it's bothered me. Why do we reward cinematic or dramatic actions with GM bonuses, but feel inclined to punish players who are playing, quote-unquote, foolishly, when maybe they felt they were being dramatic? Isn't this subjective? Mm-hmm. Brian from Osaka, currently in Taiwan, Chronivore on the forum.
Yes, Brian, it is absolutely subjective. You're right. So anyway, next question.
I had to look up a word in Brian's email, so he gets points
Coprological?
for word of the day.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Of or pertaining to poop.
Scat.
Yeah.
Yes. not scat porn, but
well, coprolites, right? That's the little poop rocks.
That's right, poop rocks, not pop rocks. Please don't confuse the two.
I don't know that.
It's fossilized dinosaur poop.
It's fossilized poop.
Okay. Sound is still hitting high, possibly.
Is it still high?
Possibly.
Only when we're singing.
I want to swing.
Okay.
Yeah, it does say we're peaking and stuff. So yeah.
Let's
go back.
Yeah, let me see the screen. Check 1, 2. No, that's all right.
Yeah, but it probably was before because you turned it. Yeah.
Well, for those of you at home, if it's too loud, just turn your volume down.
Yeah. Well, if it's distorting, I need to know that.
Oh.
All right. Well.
No, I think
this is an interesting thing because there's two ways. I mean, you look at the guy charging into a bunch of zombies. That could be a very cool cinematic sacrifice.
Sure.
Where he runs in and it allows, run you fools.
Right. Go on without me. I'll hold them off as long as I can. One of those, yeah.
Something like that. I don't know. Where is that line? Is there a line where, okay, that's a cool thing, or that is too dangerous and unlikely, and I'm just going to go by the cold, hard game mechanics?
Well, and that's, it's subjective. You're like, all right, I want to swing from the chandelier. I don't know, that's too hard and dangerous, and I'm going to go by the cold, hard fall mechanics of GURPS, and if you miss, you're dead. Or is it any different than charging in like Conan and like, I'm the fighter, I'm going to cut off heads and lop off heads, it's going to be awesome. How do you differentiate those two? Is it just because it's combat, therefore now we got to follow the deadly rules?
I think part of it is going to come down to the sort of tone of the game you're looking for. If you're running a game where it's going to be a very realistic zombie apocalypse, a la The Walking Dead, someone who goes charging into a bunch of zombies gets torn apart. And you usually see them later with, the frosty contact lenses.
Which is the I was wrong look, basically, in Walking Dead, yeah.
Right.
You all were right.
I got my just desserts. And I think, generally, I don't think there should be exceptions. If you're running that style of game, every time someone does something, quote-unquote, dumb, or super, super dangerous, you just you let the dice fall where they may, and what happens, happens. At least that's the way it seems to me. But if you're doing something and you're playing a game like a pirate game or something more cinematic like that, or a pulp game or something, then I think I think you should be consistent for the most part. You know what I mean? Because that's the sort of game where the player's telling you, unless they're telling you, okay, I'm going to sacrifice myself so everyone else can get away, which is freaking fantastic.
Yeah.
But unless they're stating something like that, and they're playing in a game where it's kind of swashbuckly, I would be more consistent.
I do agree with you. Where at some point it's totally subjective. But does it matter if someone is playing their character? Because I don't disagree with you that in a grittier game versus a swashbuckly or pulpy game, you would expect to see different actions. But if someone is doing something quote unquote dumb, but it is totally true to the narrative or the way their character was built,
right?
Is that worthy of,
like, if someone loses their shit and just and charges in, right?
But
is that worthy of some sort of kudo too?
Yes, it is, and that kind of stuff needs to be acknowledged because it encourages people to be creative when it comes to combat instead of just I hit, I roll, I hit, I roll, or I roll, I hit. But my thought is, a lot of this stuff, the +2 from the chandeliers and all of that, and swinging dives and all that, is kind of set dressing. It's kind of like, I don't care how you enter the room. You could swing through the chandelier, crash through the window, do a double flip, and roll behind the couch. Now you're in combat.
Right.
There's almost a different set of rules. Or, I don't care how you exit or how you get out. That's cool. I'll give you a +2 for just entering and exiting a scene, or seeing if you can dive out of the building or whatever to land on the horse. That's not. It kind of falls in my line with you, Sue, which is like, is it going to affect the game? Is it? Because with combat, and here's the problem, it gets a little dicey with some of the other players, or it can get. no pun intended, a little dicey with some of the other players. They're like, well, if you're just going to let him hit stuff, why did I spend all these points, in +2 broadsword? Or if you're going to let him, do these cool double-handed attacks when he doesn't have the skill, what the F?
Right.
So I can see that.
Or I spent points on acrobatics.
Right.
And he's
totally. But is there a certain amount of positive reinforcement? Is that what this is also about? So that if you have the situation like Stork you're talking about, where people are like, I roll, I hit, I roll, I miss, I roll, and you have somebody who's going to use more of the color that's in the scene, you reward a little bit so that you can kind of get that rolling with other people, and then you just shift gears.
Yes. I mean, and then even in combat sometimes, because it's something that I think about, which is like I grab the carpet and try to pull it out from underneath them. Right? And then the GM blinks at you a couple of times and goes, okay. Right? Is that an attack? I guess it's an attack. It's all right. And yet it's still funny, but it's kind of within the realm of combat. But again, I'm not twisting it so much, and it's not. It can still be adjudicated fairly under the combat rules, and I think that's what I'm going for.
Well, it sounds like what he did is someone did a swinging dive, maybe tackled an NPC or something, and he gave him a bonus to do it because the way he did it was cool.
Okay. It also depends on the group you're playing with. If you got a bunch of people that are rules followers and path followers, and they're like, no, actually on page 23 it says if you jump, or what, it's gonna kibosh a lot of that kind of stuff.
Most games give, not all of them, but most games give the GM some sort of reward mechanic to give players under certain situations.
It's an interesting thing to me that, because we do this, and we weren't conscious of it, that we assign all this stuff for drama, and then when it comes to combat, suddenly we're absolutely, nope, that's not in the rules, you get hit.
That's a good point too, Stu, that most games, not every single game, but even D&D now has a bonus that you can give people for kind of doing things that are in the spirit of their character or playing to their...
Oh, what do they call it?
I know, and I want to say...
It's not advantage.
No, and I want to say initiative. It's a word that sounds like initiative, and I'm being a moron. You guys, what is it called?
Incentive. Intent.
Damn.
Innisbrook.
Yeah, because you can only have one at a time.
Exactly.
You can't let them stack.
Inspiration.
Inspiration. Thank you. The real great
Did it
one.
just hit you?
And
I just
Dave and Lokio. Thank you. Inspiration.
Well, so riddle me this. I mean, okay, maybe in Apocalypse World, combat is a little more similar to it's a little more loose. It's a little less. What's the word I'm looking for? Mechanical, I guess. Right?
No, it's mechanical.
There's a mechanic to it.
Yeah.
But you can.
I cannot think of an Apocalypse engine game that I've played where anybody has ever told me they're going to give me a really cool bonus. They're going to let me do something that may seem a little out of line with the move or the trigger for the move, but a +1 in PBTA is
huge.
Freaking huge. Yeah. But I think it would be more that I'll allow it to do a move, but +1 +2 is not going to happen.
I guess allowing it to do a move, but not necessarily giving a bonus for it is much different than no, you can't do that, which is oftentimes what you hear once combat starts.
Right.
In a lot of systems, they frantically go through the book. And I don't see anything about pulling rugs out from underneath enemies. You can't do it.
Well, that's a failing of the GM. Because
totally.
Yes.
You could easily say, okay, you want to pull the rug, go ahead. Instead of making an attack roll, I'm going to have you make a strength roll because there's like 5 people standing on the rug. Okay, you made your strength roll. Now everyone else who's on the rug has to make a dexterity roll, or they're going to go prone.
Sure, I get it.
Yeah.
It's simple.
I get it.
And that's just figure it out. If the rules don't tell you how to do it, just figure it out. The only thing I worry about with stuff like this, and I've had these groups in the past, I don't anymore, knock on wood. In the past, I've had the groups where one guy swings on the chandelier and gets a +2 bonus to hit. Next thing you know, there's a line for the chandelier.
Everybody's swinging on.
Right.
People.
There's a flying Kasparov roll.
Yeah. I pirouette on top of the table. And exactly. But there is totally a subjective element to it.
Totally needs to be a video somewhere. What? We can do that? next round. Yeah, there's people swinging in.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that I worry about. But if you have the right kind of group, you don't need to really worry about that. But you never know. But I don't think.
Is there a double standard?
I think in some cases, I think there are. I think there are times when in a game, because I mean, when we talk about games and tone changes in games. I mean, there have been times when, like in the vampire game, it's been pretty much superheroes with fangs, and other times it's that sort of personal horror thing. Rarely, but once in a while, or the total backstabby stuff. And to have all of that, you know, as you like move in and out of scenes or from session to session, all of that changes. That sort of tone goes from darker to lighter or whatever. That subjective line on what is going to be an acceptable risk to take that may deserve a reward, and what's going to be a risk that is just going to deal with the straight dice moves. And it is subjective, but I don't know if that's necessarily a bad thing. I mean, there's a reason you have a GM and not a computer sitting at the front of the table.
That's where I was going with that, which is I don't think it's a bad thing if your GM is thinking on their feet and is fair. I mean, I've seen you do it very well, which is allow things that aren't necessarily in the book again. You know, let's just use the pulling it out of the rug thing. You gave me a perfectly good solution for that move.
Right.
And that's the kind of thing I think everybody needs to think about, but they get so constrained by the rules. Once you're in combat, you're following rules. You're following this path, and I think that that's a problem for everybody. Sometimes maybe they're not familiar enough, so it's a security blanket, so they're following by route. But
sure.
I think that up until then, role-playing, it's loose, it's free, it's fun, it's easy, we can fake it, nobody gets hurt. Oh no, it's combat.
Right.
Now we got to follow this.
And I think that comes with time, because I have played numerous games with brand new people who've never role-played before, and more often than not, they will, when they finally get into combat, they will do something that isn't covered by the rules. Almost first time.
Totally. Yep.
Or grapple, which is...
Except GURPS, which covers everything. But
if you can find it.
Yes. But I mean, we had one of the guys in our group brought his girlfriend to a game. We were playing a GURPS fantasy game, and she says, I'm gonna stab him in the groin with my sword.
That's right.
Okay. That's a -3 to hit, and it will do this damage bonus, etc. So go 2, but there's rules for that in there. I mean, and you know that's one of the things I kind of always kind of lament about D&D is they don't, even if they come up with optional hit location rules, it would be nice to be able to say, okay, if you hit a monster in the head, there's a neg to hit, but it does double damage.
Yep.
Or if you hit it in the arm, there's a chance that it's going to disarm your opponent, or things like that. And it's just
it's a shame that all of that damage is abstracted so much.
Yes. And I don't think it has to be. I mean, it could be an optional thing. It doesn't have to be,
Many people have done that. Many people have homebrewed that, but that's a bit off topic. So I don't know if we've answered your question, but I think I agree with Stu. I think it's subjective, and I think that I know I've been guilty of it. I know that everything's fast and free and furious, and that how you enter the scene is all one thing, and then when combat starts, it becomes another thing. And I think it's because I owe it to the I feel like I owe it to the characters to stick to the rules. And I think Stu's convinced me I've been an asshole this whole time. What a jerk! I feel like an idiot.
Well, I don't think there's anything wrong with being subjective, because, like I said, that things change during the course of a game session or between sessions. And the tone changes, and that is a way to sort of reinforce the tone. Like, this is a dark moment in the game for the player, for the characters. So that heroic thing you're trying to do, see if you make it. You're a -2, because it's hard to do,
but
or whatever.
It's also okay to try something kind of fun or funny. Maybe can you do a slide tackle? Can you pull the carpet out from underneath them? Can you knock the chair out from underneath the guy before or whatever? I think a good GM looks at the bigger picture and says, "Yeah, that's pretty fucking cool." Yeah, have you been thinking about it? You're going to take aim, because the thing is, if you're going to knock the chair out from somebody, you sit around and you look at it first. You don't just decide. You're like, all right, okay, okay. So there's almost like an aiming period, right? So I would think it's like give somebody, all right, I'll give you a +2 to knock the chair out from somebody, only because you've been sitting here for 10 minutes and you figured out how you're going to do that, as opposed to an extemporaneous, he's sitting and knock the chair out, I walk in and knock the chair out. It's like, all right, that's different. Now there's no bonuses involved. So, again, maybe it's scene specific as well, but the GM has to be comfortable enough to let that kind of stuff happen. And the other players have to be cool with that too. Otherwise, I'm going to kick my chair out. I'm going to kick my chair out. There's chairs everywhere.
There's a line to kick chairs out, right?
Yeah. So, subject.
Drill88 says a good GM is open to ideas, but also can bring it back into the game mechanics itself.
They have to.
If the game mechanics are robust enough to handle it.
Yeah, well, I've played some pretty flimsy game systems. I mean, D&D, it's the games. The mechanics can be pretty general at times. There's a lot of times where like I don't. I guess I hit and did damage. I don't know. But it's not built for that kind of thing. Where you get site specific. I don't know if that's a bad thing. I mean, sometimes you run up against the limitations of a game system, right?
Sure.
And I don't know if that's the GM's job to fix that. Sometimes you just go, I can fake some stuff, but I'm not setting a precedent.
Right. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, and it doesn't mean that no one at the table can support. Oh, I kind of thought we were doing X, Y, Z, and then if you are like, oh, okay, I kind of missed that, you can reverse what But otherwise, if you're like, no, that was kind of a
one-time thing, or what I found is I'll come up with something off the top of my head, and it's too overpowered.
Yes.
And then I find out, and then someone tries it again the second time. It's like, you know what? I'm going to change the way that works because it's too overpowered. I came up with it off the cuff.
That's a great, and I've heard you use it a couple of times. You know what? I'm going to change the way that works.
Because then it suddenly becomes, why would I do any of the other things I'm doing when I have this, when I can just pull rugs out?
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yes.
I think that, and that's another maybe offshoot of it, which is, when you run into the limitations of a game system and then the GM just, because you're in the middle of combat, says something, that doesn't necessarily mean that precedent has been set.
Right.
Because I've had that happen in games, and suddenly the combat has morphed. It's become house rule because they did something once. And everybody's too much of a coward to say, no, that's way too overpowered. Or the GM doesn't kibosh it. And the next thing you know, the game isn't the game that it's as written anymore. And it happens all the time, and I think it's again a failing of the GM to not call that stuff back or say, reset. We're going back to rules as written.
Right.
Yeah. Well, especially if you're trying to do that thing where you're rewarding, you're trying to entice a certain behavior, and once you've kind of got that, you don't want to keep throwing.
Right.
Yeah.
And if it turns out pulling carpets out is the ultimate move, just like headbutts were back in the 80s. A headbutt can knock anybody out, whether you were like a 5'2" girl or a bam, out people went. It's like the headbutt was the ultimate weapon. And if carpet pulling turns out to be the ultimate weapon, everybody's going to do it until you go, I'm going to change the way that works.
But and I don't know if Brian is saying this either, but I'm kind of with unless there is a mechanic in place where the GM can reward whatever it is that the system is designed to do, like I would keep those kind of fewer and further between, because otherwise it's a slippery slope.
Yep.
And then it's like you guys were saying, it's like, well, Stark got one when he did the thing, and it's like, how am I did the thing when I did the thing? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Urgent request for advice from Remus. Remus, or is stealing from your players always awesome?
Yes. The end.
Break into their house. Make sure you get their computer.
Oh, okay. That's different. So I saw you in Grindr. Well, duh. This is Remus.
Is that a left swipe or a right swipe?
Right is yes, left is no.
On Grindr?
On everything.
Okay.
Well, I don't have Grindr. I don't know.
Oh.
However, I do have a bunch of other dating apps, and they're all right Tinder, is yes, left is no.
Grindr.
They all have it now. All the dating apps have the swiping.
Okay. The swiping?
Yeah, they all do. I want menus, food apps to have that.
Hey, Remus.
Do you want this now? Do you want this now?
We saw you too. This is Remus from Season 19, Episode 6, first email. I addressed this letter as you specifically instructed, Since you answered my last urgent email 2 months late.
Yeah, he put like, "Hey asshole" or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It stuck
Hey,
right out.
asshole?
Well, I don't know if that's what he put, but
That's
I told
cool.
him to put something that would stick out,
Now
and it stuck
everyone,
out.
yeah, everyone knows how to address their emails from now on.
Yep.
If it's urgent, if you abuse it, I'll just start ignoring that.
This is true. And that is subject to whenever Steve feels like.
It is subjective.
Yeah.
If you keep pulling the carpet out, eventually it's not going to be a cool move anymore.
Word.
I include in this lengthy email a gaming win/question.
Huh?
Please bear with me.
All right.
But first, drink.
But first.
And but first.
It's really hard to drink.
We got to drink 2 times.
Two times.
There's
because
one.
Guido helped a player with a drink, so I think he's getting around the. I thought the drink went away.
That's what he said. It did.
But it
He's
didn't
got
because he didn't
points.
help a player drink.
Help a player. He's got so many
Yeah.
tankers
He
or whatever
does.
it is.
He's
Yeah.
like a bajillion
Yeah,
beers.
it's like I'm just buying rounds for the whole
I'm a
chat.
believer now though. Roulette is the real deal, as is Duel, and you can get all your beers back.
Yeah, but that's all PvP, and I'm not a PvPer.
On the
Well,
on
roulette's
the
not,
chat?
but
in the
but,
chat.
But Duel is.
Well, yeah, but you're just giving beers to people you
Still-
love.
Still or
So-
taking them away. Or,
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, then you're receiving gifts. Mm-hmm. It's all how you spend
Exactly. It's awesome.
See my new shirt? It's a goat.
Oh yeah, you guys check out the
you see
shirt. Yeah.
It's
Oh
a-
wait,
it's a
it
goat
went
motherfucker.
asleep.
Is that a goatsy?
No, it's a goat.
Yeah, we can
Goatsy.
totally see the goat.
I see the
goat.
goat.
Looks
I can
amazing.
show you a goatsy.
No.
Yeah, I'm game. Okay.
Sound on Twitch is still blown out.
Ooh, yeah.
All right, I
Sorry.
turned it down some more.
Weird. Yeah, and we looked at the little thing and it was bouncing right where it was supposed to. So I don't know
Yeah,
what the
I don't know.
dealio is.
There's a reason they call it Twitch. It's not called stable
Yeah.
or level or
Yeah.
even keeled. It's called Twitch.
Yeah, I wonder if something else has been a butt. Background.
Never Google goatsy. That's right.
Yeah.
Everyone Google Gutsy?
No, never Google
No,
goatsy.
don't, not especially at work.
Really?
No. Everyone Google Gutsy at work. Go for it. It'll be great. Don't blame me when you get fired.
Now I'm scared.
You don't know goatsy?
No.
Don't Google it now.
You should Google goatsy.
I know you're being mean.
You should Google Gutsy. You like it, the juice?
How do you? I don't even know how to spell goatsy.
G-S-E? G-O-A-T-S-E?
Yeah.
I think. I don't know. Let me Google it.
You're making stuff up.
It's not goat. I don't think it's
Yeah.
GOA. I think it's
I don't
Geo like space T.
It's G-O-A-T-S-E.
There it is. It is.
Yes.
Goatsy.
Okay.
So I'm pretty sure that's what that shirt is.
And they've cleaned it up.
Did they?
You get the no, you don't get the real. You get a bunch of like fake ones.
Yeah.
You see the pictures?
No.
No.
Oh, you didn't
Don't do
Google
it
Did
now.
somebody? Oh no, I didn't Google it.
Okay, good.
No, it's actually I don't have safe search.
Do you want me to? I was going to say, do you want me to get all sorts of malware and
Yeah, you would too.
like
I am not-
creepy stuff on here?
I am not on safe search, and there is not the actual goatsy here
Okay.
on
fine.
almost the first page.
All right, I'll continue reading while you do this.
Yeah,
Background.
okay.
I'm currently running my Savage
I'm gonna
Exalted
spell
game,
it.
the same
Sorry.
one as before, in which the PCs are the first Exalted in their house in 40 years, and the future of their house rides heavily on their shoulders.
Ooh,
Oh, I see what you did. You did this because it's a long one. Oh. They are currently participating in the Exalted version of the Olympics called the Great Games. Think Heracles versus Achilles and all the other Greek heroes with their added dose of anime awesome/power competing in Olympic and medieval tournaments against each other. These games designed to let each dynastic house show off its new blood in a friendly form that also entertains the populace. The current games center around the element of water. It rotates between the 5. The centerpiece of this whole spectacular is, and I'm going to mess this up, Dan's title cup. Don's.
Okay.
A Harry Potter goblet, a fire-style tournament between the dynastic house teams, where they are given a simplistic yet highly dangerous task. The only clue that they are given for what the coming task is a cryptic religious parable that they must decipher. Hope that they are right and choose which people will enter the competition based on this imperfect knowledge. Problem. This is where I'm having a problem. And a solution. I was freaking out because I committed to 5 such events, and I was drawing a blank. So I wrote the first parable, hoping for some inspiration, but I got really busy at work, so I just had the parable ready, and that was it. Game day. Players do their thing, the moment comes, and I give them the parable in a sealed parchment. The whole time up to this point, I've been racking my brain for interpretations, ideas. I had a few sketchy ones building on nothing concrete. Then the players in character started debating the meaning and interpretations of what rules, challenges, and name indicate, and they happened to be right. Yep. Apparently the monks even included multiple interpretations when they designed this event. In other words, I cheated and just used every good idea they spit out. The best part was when I saw the vindicated smiles and high fives for puzzling out the, quote, cryptic as fuck, end quote, parable. Yeah, you gave them all a win. They were like, we rule! Question. I count it as a massive win, but it brings up a question. Is this a reliable method? Clearly, I can mind their conversations and give them a voice in the Title Cup events, even if they don't realize it, but at some point, won't they realize and feel kind of cheated? Do you guys use this method? How do I keep from being obvious? You want to answer that first before we do the requested update? All right, requested update. During season 19, episode 6, you guys asked me to tell you how the murder fantasy mystery went, even though I never got the advice until 2-ish months afterward. I ended up putting heads together with one of my former players
he's bitter.
and coming up with a lot of the same. That's only the way I read it. He's not bitter.
No, it's the second time he's brought it up. Although I've
Yeah.
done that. I know how that works.
Let's see. One of my former players and coming up with lots of the same ideas you guys covered. I gave everyone the motive, opportunity to which, or such, to kill said evil bastard that is the murdered individual, and they panicked and even suspected each other. And it went great. It ended up being a 3-part arc with a great cliffhanger, a triple reveal, and the assassin got away after one of the PCs saw his real face. So he's definitely coming back when they least expect to kill him. All in all, I was absurdly pleased. Remus on the forum. P.S. I posted links to my Savaged Exalted and
That's
Legacy
cool.
of Ferrum.
Is it Farum, maybe?
F-E-R-E-M.
Just spelled differently?
Ferrum. Recording of my game sessions and the Happy Jacks forums. Or on the Happy Jacks forums. Thanks. So.
A Savaged Exalted?
Yeah.
That sounds fabulous.
So to his question.
Yeah.
And I know Stu is a big proponent of this.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
When your players come up with gold, do you just ignore it, or you?
No, you steal it. Absolutely. I don't think don't count on it. Don't rely on it.
No.
I would, because as often as they come up with gold, they also come up with crap, and they will suddenly be completely flummoxed and not have any, because generally this kind of stuff happens when they start having long discussions. The players sit down, they've got a problem, they've got an issue, they've got a puzzle, or they've got, they're going to go on a heist, and they're going to sit down, they've gathered a bunch of information, they're going to try to piece together what's going on. So they sit down, and usually at that point you have some idea in your head as the GM what all of that stuff means. What's red herrings, what's actual clues, how they all piece together. But every so often the players will come up with a more elegant, unifying thing for all of the disparate things that you have out there, that you go, oh, wow.
Well, let me say,
it doesn't happen a lot, but it does happen.
But as a good GM, you have to be available to that.
Absolutely.
Because I think a lot of the problem is that people have this thing in their head and they block.
Right.
Which is where the yes and comes from. Because a good GM will go, oh my God, that's so fucking good.
Right.
Oh, totally.
And you have to be listening and be available and actually listening to what they're saying. And
oh yeah, when your players start talking amongst themselves or arguing about what they're going to do next,
don't just leave the room.
Don't go pee. Stay, because that's when you're going to find that stuff, if you find it.
That didn't happen at all in Dead Rain, just saying. That didn't happen like every 22 minutes.
Right.
We were all like, this way.
Oh yeah.
Scattering.
No. This way. Yeah. Yeah.
But you can't just rely on it. It's one tool in your GM toolbox.
I think he got lucky.
Good tool.
I think he got lucky that his characters or that his players came up with some great ideas.
There's an adventure that was written by what's the guy's name? James Raggy, the guy that did
Raggy?
Flame Princess.
Yeah, Lamentations of the Flame Princess.
Yeah, Lamentations.
He sent us a couple of review copies years and years and years ago. This is a long time ago. This is like first season. And one of them was for a murder mystery. And right in it, he says that murder, who did it? It could have been, any of these 5 people. And it's not unheard of to let the players figure out and point to who they think did it, and then figure out if that was the person that did it.
Sometimes I think I'm sorry, who the person
Remus.
that yes, Remus was saying this too, but obviously sometimes those ideas are coming up because the players do think like, hey, this is what's going on, or maybe this is going on. But every once in a while, do you feel like, because Stork, you play a lot? Yeah, like you have a bullshit detector and you're like, that wasn't what was going on.
No. Well,
really?
yeah.
I sometimes feel like...
Here's the thing, though. If I sense that, I don't care. Because in some ways, a part of me is like, cool, I figured out the GM's super secret plan, yay me. And the other part of me is like, you know what, this is part of the plan. Because part of me also, I mean, it's the same reason I don't like watching people get up and who can't sing, because you just cringe. Part of me is like, oh God, we've taken it so far off the rails, this poor guy's sweating bullets, he has no idea what to do, and I don't want to put anybody in that position.
No, I don't either, but I think there's a part of me that when I am dubious wants to know what the real thing was. So
sure, right.
So anyway, where are we going with that? You asked me that question.
Well, I don't think GMs should necessarily, I mean, I do, but that's because we do the show. But I don't think GM should necessarily let on to that stuff.
Oh, hell yeah.
I don't either.
Yeah.
Certainly not during the game.
Yeah.
I think that...
I totally agree.
The whole philosophy that we use for yes and again, it's just a tool in your toolbox to yes and. There are times when yes and gets in the way, like I want to sprout wings and fly. No.
Right. Or you might have, whatever thing all of these little pieces fit together, whatever puzzle they create, whatever picture they create, that may have repercussions down the line in what you're planning on doing for the rest of the game. So even if they do come up with a cooler idea, once you can figure out how that dovetails in with other stuff that you're planning, well, maybe you need to leave it on the table.
Totally.
I think when we did Mission Imbartable with the Happy Jacks philosophy, we set up the problems. We gave them a couple of different entrance ways into the solutions, but we didn't write anything. We never wrote an ending. We never wrote a full-on solution. There was no, this is the way it must end, dogma in an envelope. And I think that's kind of the way you need to do every encounter, which is, here's the bad guy, and he's firing lightning bolts at you, and how, he's my big bad. But if they come up with a way to outfox him, it's like, we ground him. Oh, shit. We pour water on him, right? Water's conductive. He can't do lightning bolts anymore. Oh.
Turns out he is a mere hedgehog.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. So now as a GM, you're rolling with it. Yeah.
That's awesome.
I'm just saying, it is. I think it's important to think that way. It's important to acknowledge, to at least listen to what your players are saying and run it through that filter and say, yeah, okay, because I think you will be surprised how awesome the games can be, how much more awesome, how much less work it is for you as a GM. You're not stressing so much, and how much more fun the players are going to have, because they're going to think that, yeah, we came up with this awesome solution. You're like, I had no idea how they were going to defeat the lightning bolt throwing dude. That was better than what I thought of, which was to just fight him and grind it down for 4 hours. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, Remus.
Yeah, they are in the chat room too, saying that you could totally talk more about Mission Imbartable. So we're going to have to make sure.
There is a chance. There's a chance. I've been talking about doing a one-shot as an AP. It's a scheduling thing. I'm announcing it now. At some point, Dave and I will probably get together and run that. But it's a matter of fitting it into our schedules and fitting it into the Happy Jacks AP schedules. But I've approached Kimmy. She's open to it. It's a matter of working out the time and finding players. So.
Just run on a Saturday afternoon when Stu doesn't.
We'll just find some other players and people. Anyway, but it is And the neat thing about it is, with the situation, there's going to be completely different solutions with every group you play.
I play games. That's what I do.
I'm here, so that's one. Yeah. We got one.
I play games and I know things.
Yeah, and I know things. And I drink.
And I drink.
There you go.
So anyway, yeah, Mission Impossible will be on its way. And I thought it was much more successful than I think anybody thought it was going to be.
The simple ideas are.
There's a lot of love.
Quick thank you from Jean in Elk Grove.
Okay. Should I try again?
Sure.
Good morning, afternoon, evening, Stu and the rest. See how we're the rest when you're in the room.
And the rest.
Yeah.
Here on Happy Jacks.
Studio.
Remember when it became the rest, and then it was Professor and Marianne, because later on they
Ginger and Marianne.
For the Professor and Marianne.
And the rest.
And the
it used
rest.
To be the rest, yeah.
That was the
You're totally a Marianne.
The black and white ones.
Dude,
the movie star. No, I'm Mrs. Howell because she's got money and is really, really grateful.
Gilligan.
What?
No, Marianne.
Dude, yeah. You guys are.
I'll be your Gilligan. Just hit me with your hat, Skipper.
Okay, I'm done. I just popped my microphone off. That was more than I could handle, Grinder Man. Okay. Jean from Elk Grove checking in with a moment of joy. Ooh, that can be a new thing.
Moment of joy.
You got horror stories and GM
a
confessions and a moment of joy.
We needed the Stimpy.
Do you have like a wand or a tinkly fairy noise?
We need the Stimpy quote, which is joy. I got one of these.
Yeah. What was that?
A fart.
I was going to say that was not a tinkly fairy noise.
Let me see the
tinkly fairy noise. You know,
maybe when you're a parent and your kid's like 6 months and it farts and you think it's the cutest thing you ever heard, maybe. I don't know.
While he's finding us out, I always loved Stimpy's voice. Joy. And I was reading an interview years ago about the guy that did the voices, Billy West, and he used Larry from the Three Stooges as the basis for Stimpy's voice.
Seriously?
Yeah, he's like the unsung stooge.
Larry Fine.
Larry Fine. Oh, Joy. Mo. I mean, it's the same voice.
That's totally true.
Uh-huh.
Oh, here you go.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah.
Tiny little sweet sneeze.
Can you sneeze?
Cool. Moment of joy. That's so cute.
Tiny little burp in the
That's
background.
way too cute. I'm writing this while sober.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, we're not reading it sober, so we'll balance it out.
Yeah, so I ought to be able to keep it brief. I've been ramping up my podcast listening now that I'm back in another mindless job. And the Happy Jacks back catalog has inspired me to jump back into the hobby full force. See how that happened? How like there was writing and there wasn't talk of corn and toilets.
Are you still
like there was a reference to back catalog, but it didn't include poop.
Back catalog.
The corn isn't technically poop. It's just surrounded by poop.
Right? But it totally makes me like. It's squidgy.
Corn's kind of the hunter-gatherer of because it pretty much goes right through the whole system, taking everything with it. Is that helping?
It's like it's the psyllium husks.
I mean, yes, I think that might be where they get psyllium husks. But
I think they get them from.
Is that helping, Gina?
No. It was You're on Fire, first of all, though, and I love it. But no, I don't want to think about that stuff. I don't know why. Go figure. Thank you. Thank you. Well done,
I'm scatting.
I was going to do scatting.
Well done, though, Gene. I applaud your referencing in a totally adult and professional manner. Okay. So, yeah, I know. We're jump back into the hobby full force. I checked the schedule for my friendly local gaming store and saw that there's a semi-regular FFG Star Wars event. After hearing the Happy Jacks regulars say so many positive things about the system, I decided to drop in for some much-needed face-to-face gaming.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I was thinking, too. I was like,
look, you're all
exactly, face-to-face.
Yeah.
I drove a whopping 7 minutes south on the California 99, ordered my soda and my cookie.
Where's the 99?
I have no idea. I don't know. Is it by, like, Ohio or something?
Northern California?
No, I don't know.
Oh, no.
You should look it up.
Central, maybe.
Look it up while we continue on.
Yeah. Ordered a soda and my cookie and introduced myself to the GM. We chatted a bit. He started setting up and gave me a handful of pre-gens from which to select. I got all Hosier Rob there.
Yeah, you did.
I did. I'm sorry.
You got all creepy.
I did. I'm sorry. As the night progressed, several familiar ingredients from Gaming Horror Stories started to take shape.
Oh, no.
A published module, tick, complete with recited block text, tick,
nice,
jumping into a latter act of an adventure whose plot I was only vaguely caught up on, tick, one other taciturn player who pretty much let me call the shots. If I'd have heard this described third hand about another person's game, I'd have winced in sympathy. And you know what? It was awesome!
What?
Because by God, I was gaming again with people. And the fact that the GM blocks out 3 hours of every week to open his game to complete strangers, welcoming them and walking them through a system they know nothing about, like I didn't, is an act of bravery and a public service.
She was She was old. She had venereal disease.
Right?
Like, by God, I was having sex again.
Exactly.
By the way,
and there's medicine for that.
By the way, the California Route 99 runs vaguely parallel to the 5. It looks like it looks like
Bakersfield, etc.
Well, basically the 5 goes like this, and it branches off a little bit to the east, but it meets back up probably. That's a ways north.
Glasgow Shafter, yeah.
It's north of Sacramento, and it looks like it starts somewhere like. Is that Lancaster, Palmdale? Maybe a little north of that.
Can you get there off a Little Pinoche?
And
it might actually intersect Panoche.
I think we all want to date C.A. Dave. It's just a thing. But yeah, he totally, like a screen ago, was like Bakersfield to Fresno.
Yeah, it's Dave.
Yeah, no, he knows everything.
Well, that's because he used to be a traveling salesman.
Well, let me have my fantasies. He's amazing.
Dave knows his white trash
Dave's
areas.
Awesome. That was a compliment, Dave.
Yeah, see, there's a picture of that.
I'm sure.
The red one is the 99.
Oh.
And that's the next blue line, I'm assuming, is the 5.
Is that
it looks
going
like
to Sacramento versus
It looks like it's
Fresno?
past Sacramento.
Okay, or SAC, as they call it up there. There were life choices there.
Usually have to go down for the sack. I'm sorry. I'm Captain Obvious today.
It's because we all are a little dim in the brain.
No, because now we feel so. Because you've been like, I'm still reeling from the it's logical references.
Oh, I know. No,
and now I'm feeling like we're all going to get marked to HR if we say something wrong.
No, you're not. You're hello. You're not.
I'll put an X on the hand.
I am sassy to the power of infinity, so
I know.
I don't mind that.
I know you.
She's not a shrinking violet.
No, I'm not. I am not.
The X in black. I swear there was an X. Nobody could see it.
There you go. Just touch that.
Look, I held it up. And they didn't respect it.
First of all, I know. Like,
broken.
Let's look at this. Can you even? You can't see how you can't see it. Now you can. You can't see it. Now you can.
You know, some guy made the X card when it's black on black.
Yeah.
I took the backside of the Easy Roller dice. This is for the people who are listening.
All right.
I took the backside of my Easy Roller dice tray, and I took
which is black.
And I took 2 pieces of electrician's tape,
which are black.
Which is black. Yeah.
I made an X.
And when the light catches it just so, you can.
Oh, sorry, didn't touch the X. Keep going.
Yeah, exactly. That wasn't where it was.
Didn't see it.
So I'm committed now. The GM is away this Wednesday, but this game will be back in 2 weeks. And on my honor, I will be there. Just want to share and to express my appreciation for all the inspiration and good info you all provide on a weekly basis. And if I could get in a quick plug for my FLGS, hell yeah, the fine establishment that hosts this and other such events is the Game Room Adventure Cafe in Elk Grove.
Yeah, we could have just Googled Elk Grove, couldn't we?
Yeah.
Instead of looking up the
99. I know, we were all like, California 99.
You know what, though?
We live in California.
I thought Elk Grove was in some Thule part of the rest of the country.
I want to say that the Game Room Adventure Cafe is the best name for a gaming store ever.
It kind of is.
I kind of love that.
The only thing that would be better is if, let's do a Kickstarter. I'll give you a call, Game Room Adventure Cafe, and we can add "and beer." and we got it.
And if they have like a laundromat attached to it, you'll make bank.
We got it made in the shade. Yeah.
Hold on.
Badass.
There you go.
It's totally true.
Why problem make when you no problem have you don't want to make?
Okay.
Can I tell you I've missed the soundboard?
A lot of people have.
Okay, cool. Because I love the soundboard.
Yeah, but less people. Never mind.
Yeah. I got a Gina's hair is great earlier.
Did you?
Yeah. And it made me think of Stork's hair is great because I think that sounds
But I always
better.
think of how awesome
Stork's hair is great!
I
know.
The crew picture there with
yeah,
the tentacles.
because we realized that it has tentacles. Yeah.
What has tentacles?
My hair does.
Her hair
does, yeah.
My hair's like a kraken
And the Happy Jacks crew is
on
pretty
my
awesome.
scalp, on my skull.
But you have like the greatest hair on that drawing there.
I do have pretty good hair.
It's all shiny and it's
You know the
huge.
exception to my hair though in that picture?
Dave's beard.
Thank you.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
See, Dave's beard.
It can't even
is
be
like
contained.
No.
Yeah.
lumbersexual times 100.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. So thanks again from Jean. P.S. My ulterior motive for writing was to elicit a total recall style.
2
weeks.
I think Gina indulged that.
2 weeks.
Oh, PPS. PPS. In case you didn't, I know.
Now you're doing it to yourself.
I did. In case you didn't take the bait the first time.
2 weeks. All right.
That was awesome. That was a fantastic story.
And you know what?
Yeah.
I kind of feel like we gave him bad advice because all the advice, all the warning signs were there, and he stayed and had a good time. So I'm like, all right, are we wrong? We were wrong, I guess, in this case.
Well,
because he should have waved off Maverick. The pattern was full.
You know what? I'm not going to piss on his parade.
I know.
But 8-9 sessions down the line, he may start looking for a different group because he may go, oh, that one guy's really getting annoying. Because that happens, right?
He might, but
It happens.
I mean, honestly, sometimes any face-to-face gaming better than no gaming. Yes.
Right.
I'm going to spin it this way.
Okay.
He showed up.
Methadone is still a drug.
It is.
Exactly. Thank you.
He showed up
True.
fully aware with
Bad
a tool,
sex is
with a
still
good,
sex.
with a good tool chest, and he knew what to look for, and he was ready. He was prepared.
Yeah.
He didn't get blindsided by any bad things.
Yeah.
Because if you show up and are blindsided, that's one thing. It's another thing if you show up and like, oh no, okay, but and you choose to stay. That's another thing. Now you've made that choice. You've seen the warning signs,
Right.
and you decide to stay.
Try anyway, because you never know.
Yeah.
You never know.
You can't really tell by what someone's like by their first impression,
Right, and
especially gamers.
And it's only if you're innocent or don't know better. That's later on when the horror stories happen. Like, oh my God, I didn't know what.
Well, and the other thing is, it sounds to me like there were potentially low expectations.
Sure.
And so under promise, over deliver. So it's like kind of know what you're expecting, kind of see some warning signs, but then actually have some fun. That's awesome.
If you're going into it, I guess I'd use the same thing. If I'm going to go to my local gaming store, I'm going to expect it to be full of problems and maybe not so great. And I will be pleasantly surprised if it doesn't suck as much as I prepared myself for it to be.
Once I finish my Thousand Suns army, which they're all assembled now,
Right,
I just have to
right.
paint them. I'm experimenting with different painting techniques right now to figure out how I'm going to do them. But once I'm done, I'm going to take my army down for a Warhammer night. I'm going to get some Vicks put under my nose. Or maybe I'll just not shower for 2 weeks.
I spent time down
Blend
there,
right in.
though.
Right. Huh?
I spent time down there. I did not think...
Game Empire? Oh, it's different.
No, not in Game Empire, but even in the war games at the cons. Like, I don't think it's... Like, I thought it was smellier in the dungeon when we were playing RPGs than the war gamers.
The dungeon's terrible. The dungeon,
Yeah, because I went and watched demos of, like, Malifaux and stuff like that, and I thought it was just fine.
It was fine. It was fine.
And who doesn't like suspenders?
You don't see many suspenders anymore.
I like...
It's these khaki shorts.
Oh, true. There you go. Cargo pants.
That's right.
Cargo shorts.
You want to tell your story? Because I thought that was hilarious. Because we bag on the wargamers. There's this stereotype where
they wear button-down shirts, with pocket protectors, and
red
suspenders. Right. Yeah.
Right. And
they're all old, and they have waxed mustaches and shit. Right.
So Stu shows up at the Warhammer thing, and he's like, "All right, I'm expecting the whole suspender thing." Looked around and went, "Wow, these guys are all kind of cool. They're kind of young. They're all wearing." And you looked at yourself, and then you look up, and they're all wearing
Khaki cargo shorts. Everyone
you're from the land of your people.
Khaki. Not only that, the only pants type things I packed was khaki cargo shorts because I owned four pair.
And they're comfy.
Yeah. And they have big pockets, so you can put your phone in one, you put your dice in one.
I guarantee you all those logical war gamers had the exact same when they bought their 4 pairs of khaki cargo pants as well. So that seems to be the new thing.
Do you have measuring tape? Don't you need measuring tape?
Not for that, yes.
Yeah.
I actually have a.
Do you get one of those cool
little
Games
Workshop measuring tape?
Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Just inches.
And
actually, I think it has centimeters too. But
just to sound relevant, I found a new measuring tape recently. Somebody handed it to me and I'm measuring, and I couldn't figure it out. I'm like, what the fuck are all these little numbers? And apparently, there's a measuring tape that has the center for it. So if you go to 3 feet, it tells you what the center is, so you don't have to do the math.
Oh, that's interesting.
I thought for my job when I'm hanging a graphic or a sign or whatever, you have to sit around and go, all right, it's 42.5 inches. Oh God, what's the center point of 42.5? So that's
21.
But if you just look right below it in red, it's right there centered. Well, yeah, and then you got to figure out that's a foot and a 2. Yeah. So anyway, there's a lot more math involved, but this one is like right there, dead center.
Yeah.
So if it's 42 inches long, where the center is, it'll just say 42 inches.
Right. So you look at right 42, and then right below there's a bunch of little numbers, and right there's like in red it says it gives you what the center point of 42 would be.
Oh. So it's like a little chart. Mm-hmm. It's like a big, long, very long chart.
Yes, but it's on your tape. So as your tape goes, underneath the major numbers, like where the center points are.
Got it. That's handy.
It is, especially when you're dealing with like really weird fractions, like 42 and 5/8.
Because that's sorcery. That is.
It is, and where it is all worked out for you.
Well, you just increase the.
I know how to do it. I've been doing it for years, and I understand. but to have a tape do it for me made it so much nicer.
You just double the denominator.
Actually, I think.
Don't you? Isn't that it?
Did I ever tell you this is going to be really boring for everybody? I'm going to do it anyway. The Carpenters or the prop makers version, 99 bottles of beer on the wall. You go 99 bottles of beer on the wall, 99 bottles of beer. Take them down, drink 5 and 5/16. 94.
What's Stu's during the 41st millennium? The 41st millennium.
40K.
Oh, see,
40K.
every once in a while.
And now I was actually. I'm going to try to see if I can convince Jim to come up here and bring an army.
Yep.
And I'm going to set up. We won't stream it.
Bring an army. Where are you going to feed them?
No, for the table. And I'll put. I bought a big mat, and I have a little bit of terrain, and we'll film it, but I won't stream it. And record it, and then we'll put it up on the YouTubes. Sort of like a learning game.
Yeah, I think people would like that a lot.
I think that will lead to greater things. I think it's awesome. Mm-hmm.
Maybe
you should do that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're just going to continue painting miniatures in the dark all by yourself. You want to play with them.
I definitely want to play the game because I picked the army because they look cool. They got the best helmets. They do. Thousand Sons have the best helmets. If you like goofy Egyptian shit. If you don't like goofy Egyptian shit, they're shit. But if you like goofy Egyptian stuff...
Many wars have been won on the strength of the helmet, I mean.
It has.
Although, I gotta say, the Germans had awesome helmets in World War II. Much more awesome than everybody else.
Yeah, but they lost.
They did, didn't they?
By the way, my goatsy thingy is like lots of words. Is that...
GOATSE?
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to read this next one.
Oh,
story update. Whose turn is it?
A thing would have come up? You can have it.
I'm going to try to get this back on track here.
No, it's back to me, isn't it?
Okay.
Yeah.
Hello all. Mike from me here. With a follow-up to a horror story I wrote.
Mike who says
me.
I wrote in about last year. Quick summary. The story involved a one-shot of a high-powered system that very few of the participants were prepared for, including the GM. It was the one where I mentioned the player throwing an active volcano at the monsters for the 5th time that day.
The 5th time. If he can swing from the chandelier, why can't I?
Right. I want to throw a volcano. Shortly after, I fell out of the group, though I only told the story last year. It happened years ago. Well, over the past weekend, I ran into that group running some open games at the friendly local gaming store I had just discovered, including the GM for that game. He immediately apologized after recognizing me, saying everything about that game was bad, and that it was his first time GMing a game ever. He's since gotten a lot more experience with the hobby and was even running a game that day, and he invited me to that he invited me to. I stayed, made a quick character, and had a fun time. So, Luke, if you're listening, I raise a glass to you. And so shall we!
So shall we. You know what? People can learn.
Mike, from me. P.S. Thanks for turning me on to Mastodon, the decentralized Twitter-like service. I'm having a great time there and meeting all kinds of awesome people. I heard you guys didn't get along so well, but I was already a queer, communist, furry, social justice warrior, so that helped. That would help on Mastodon. Me, of course, stands for Mastodon Instance.
By the way, another thing that I don't know if we pimped it or not, but Stu turned us onto it, is Slack, which is a great thing for your gaming groups or just groups in general,
it kicks
groups of friends, whatever. It
yeah.
really is truly awesome. It's very flexible. It's a lot of fun. Link things, do stuff.
Our whole large circle of gamers are all on it, and there's different channels for all the different games and all kinds of stuff.
And we're expanding exponentially with a lot of different games and stuff. But even so, if you have 2 or 3 games, a set, or even other things, like the Poxy Boggers have their own Slack channel as well. So you can have these channels set up, and it's wonderful. It's so much easier than emailing back and forth, hoping somebody has the time to look at it. The little Slack app comes up. I highly recommend it for everybody. It's a great way to organize your friends.
Forrest has an amazing Discord. Forrest.
Oh yeah. What is Discord? I don't even know what Discord is.
Discord is more gamer oriented, so it is Slack-like, but there is
Is it voice? Oh, it's voice.
It is voice.
Okay.
However, and I just saw this today because I know when I was first on Slack, they were just beta testing video with like 10% of their populace,
right?
And now it's like 40% of the Discord.
I think I saw something.
Members have video.
Yeah, I think I saw something.
So they have definitely, in fact, Kurt Potts ran something the other night. He did some blades.
In Slack or in Discord?
In Discord.
Okay.
I think using Discord. And Forrest did like a Goblins game. It's I think it's a playtest. No, it was like a playtest of a system, is my understanding.
It's not owned by the same people, though, is it?
No, it's not. And it's got some functionality that I think is pretty freaking amazing for gaming. However, Slack, I am starting to kind of feel like Slack is a better communication device because it was originally built for like businesses and business communication.
What I love about it is it's a way to organize all your friends.
Yeah, well, and then you can not only upload documents, but you can do GIFs and videos, and there's just more functionality, and you can share threads or share comments and start threads on certain comments because. I gotta say though that Discord's pretty freaking awesome,
it's much more
but
powerful.
there are times like I'll go peek at the Discord and then like 2.5 hours later it's like 299 messages.
Wow.
So if you see something you want to comment on, that's where Slack is maybe a little more handy because you can.
It's really just your invited friends. It's not. It's not a huge.
No, so is
Discord is too.
So is this Discord. Yeah, no, absolutely. It is pretty freaking cool. And the thing I think I like about both those services is like they're, private-ish.
Yes.
So you're not really doing stuff that's, and I don't know what Discord's like, but I know Slack, once you get to 10,000 messages, you start, your archives drop off.
Right.
Which I have another group of gaming friends where it's like ridiculous. Within a month or so, like you'll try to, you can also search. The search functionality on Slack is amazing. But yeah, they are really, to your point, they're really, really good tools for like gaming
it's just
communities.
Keeping your friends separated, right? We've got the Poxy Boggards, and then we've got my gaming friends, and some of the Boggards are gamers, and some of them aren't, but we can collect them together in Slack, and that way the grumpy old guy who isn't me in the Boggards isn't annoyed by all the emails flying back and forth about gaming stuff.
100%. Yeah.
I've turned off all notifications unless someone specifically PMs me or mentions me.
I finally had to because I would be sitting there on my laptop and it would just be like, and you can set up, especially on Slack, you can actually set up different notification sounds for different channels. And so I would be hearing, wand, ping, hummus, like all day long, and I'm like, okay, I gotta turn that off because
and some of you that have listened to our APs have probably heard us doing it already, because we actually, instead of note throwing now, crumbling up a piece of paper and throwing it, we use Slack and Slack the GM a bit.
Yeah.
Because it's still very private and within a circle.
Yep.
It's, I don't know, I really like it. I think it's a really neat thing. It's another powerful tool. It's another tool for organizing groups and organizing games and even in-game.
Yep. Lokio is actually saying that there is a JackerCon Discord server with voice that they actually played Blades in. So I'm thinking that was maybe Kurt's Blades. Yeah, but that's really cool. And I've heard that people that are using it like it better than some of the other options out there.
Oh.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. And it doesn't cost you.
Right.
Slack, I know some of the cost can come if you want to archive more than 10,000 messages. You have to pay, I think it's like $4.99 per person on your server. Yeah, no, it's pricey because I wanted to try to do that for my one gaming group I'm in, and I was like, yeah, I can't afford that.
My world's not that big. I mean, I'm like, it's a free app that fits on my phone. I can talk to all my friends without having to like weed through emails and ads and stuff. No, I love it.
Isn't there like is there a Facebook Groups app?
No. There's a Messenger app and then there's the Facebook app.
Okay.
But both Discord and Slack obviously have apps, phone apps. So, which is
I was thinking, if you're
really
looking for something that's, because Facebook doesn't delete anything.
Yeah, no, and I'm
Rather than
sorry.
just email.
I'm just going to say this, but like, that scares me. And I have a friend who is
looking for something
PMing somebody about some Facebook policy, and then suddenly got a survey with asking for feedback on said policy.
I'm shocked.
It's like, right?
Of course, they're looking at your shit to see. Of course, they are.
It's an algorithm looking at your shit. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
I PMing someone on Facebook about my about my impending split. I start getting ads on Google for divorce lawyers.
I know. It's just, I don't know.
I'm shocked.
Right?
But when I buy something from Amazon and then I see Amazon ads on a site, it's for the thing I just bought.
No, that's true, and I think that's
now
weird.
You're mad.
It's like how smart
I just bought
are you?
That. I bought a camera. I bought the Canon, what is it? The Rebel 2.
Did you?
No, this is years ago.
Oh, okay.
But I bought the camera. And then I start seeing Amazon ads for the same fucking camera.
Yeah.
It's like, well, you guys know I bought it. How about you show me accessories for it?
That's the only data they have yet. They're still working with it. The algorithm is still young. It's
no. This is only a few years ago, and it's still that way. I just went on and bought paint thinner for my 1,000 Suns. Mm-hmm. They're showing me ads for paint thinner.
This is like. See,
hello?
You need Dr. Zola from Winter Soldier with his algorithm, and how could it not know? It knows everything. It works everything out ahead of time. Google's algorithm only works after you do something.
The shipping for what? You can get a divorce lawyer on Prime. What's the shipping for a divorce lawyer? I don't know. I have Prime, so I don't pay for it. It's 2 day.
Yeah,
it's free.
It sounds like a lot of the Guido's Masks game is on Discord too. So.
Okay.
Groups Discord. There's all the
Discords. So it
Discords.
sounds to me like Discord is kind of the Slack for it's a multimedia Slack for gaming because it allows a lot. I know a lot of people are digging it because it really allows you to just game and do a lot of multimedia stuff without having to.
Mike, is that the groups thing? I think you're in the chat room still, but is that the groups?
Was Luke in there?
Talkie, yeah, he was. Talkie channel-y thing that you were talking about that you started. Is it Discord? Because somebody just said the GURPS Discord is amazing, and I know. Oh, okay, cool. Because I've heard that too, and I'm wondering if that's a Discord
all I was doing
site.
was pimping Slack. All of a sudden, it's turned into a whole thing.
But it is a good conversation because it is stuff once again like OneNote that isn't created for gamer geek nerds.
Right, but it works.
But it freaking works, and the same
it's
thing.
Like when everyone was. When everyone was talking, remember Google Wave? And I was like, we're going to use Google Wave. Yeah. We're going to play role-playing games on Google Wave. It's going to be awesome. No, it's
I miss Google Wave.
Remember Google Plus?
It's still there.
I know, but...
What was the AOL chat room?
Yeah.
Was it chat room? Everybody was into that, yeah. But
Hangouts? Google Hangouts?
Yeah. No. AOL had a messenger client
AIM.
thing. AIM. That was
Messenger, AIM.
I think don't
It's still there. I think
the kids use the AIM.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, the kids like the AIM.
AOL
and
still exists.
I know. I still
Snapchat
have an
and
account there
stuff.
because I set one up years ago and I'm too lazy to delete it.
You're what?
On AOL. Stu,
Really?
Stu told me to. Stu was an early adopter of email, and I didn't have one yet. He goes, "Oh, let me set you up with an email account," and he's gotten rid of his AOL account.
I didn't have
I don't
email
get rid of
until I didn't have email until I don't know, 9 years
I
ago.
still have the AOL account that Stu helped me set up back in like 1998.
Oh, see, you had email way before I did. I had work email, so I'm like,
I
what do
invited
need
Stu
email
over to my
for?
house, and he ended up helping me to load high a lot of basic information.
Oh my God. That's the yeah. You could only use the bottom 640 of your memory.
Yeah.
You had to run a certain You had to run a
was
file.
DOS. It was a DOS thing.
To have
It was a DOS
access to up to what was it, 2 megabytes?
Yeah.
You could have up to 2 or 4 megabytes of shit.
So it was a DOS command, and it was a simple DOS, but it was in DOS. You could load high all of the basic stuff and have it load up, and that
you write a little auto-exec back.
Right, and would store it all up high, and then they would free up all this,
Right.
stuff. This is back when we were dealing with, 1 gigabyte was unheard of.
We had
It was
386 computers.
we had 300 megabytes. It was astonishingly huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And with 300 or 1200 baud modems.
Oh yeah.
All right.
And
you
mastodons
gonna-
were walking around.
Were you going to talk about your very cool books because you were finished?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, because they sounded amazing.
One of our listeners, I don't remember who it was, sent me We Are Legion, We Are Bob on Audible, and I listened to it, and 20 minutes in, I paused it.
Fish on.
I went to Amazon, and I bought the second and third books. The third book has just come out recently in the last month or so, couple months. And they're fantastic. I've listened through them twice. I never do that.
No, you never.
I've
given you like 7 books and you never read any of them.
No, it's
I gave you Strange in the Realm. No, I gave you the Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. Well, you gave that to me. I'm not going to read that. You know it. But a listener sends you stuff.
Yeah, well, it was Audible too. Because I spent 3 hours a day on the freeway.
I understand.
So Audible, I use Audible a lot. Wow, look at Jerry Lewis.
Yeah, he's he's dead now.
What? Yeah, why is he on your...
I don't know. Well, that's AOL.
Wow. I'm on the way. Wow.
Okay.
Hey, lady.
Hey, lady. But it's a fantastic series if you haven't read it. I would strongly suggest checking it out.
I'm not going to do it.
I know.
Just because you told me to.
But
and I'm spiteful that way because I gave you like 10
I know.
books you never looked
That's
at.
fine.
No, it's fine.
That's fine.
No, that's all right.
Did you read Dresden Files?
Yeah, but that wasn't because of you.
Okay. All right. Well, should we call it?
Yeah.
I need the next page. There it is.
I was looking for that the other day. When Kimmy was running this, we were looking for that button the other day.
It's on page 2.
We found it.
Thank you for joining us for season 20, episode 7 of Have Everything Podcast. My name is Stu.
My name is Gina.
My name is Stark.
And thank you very much. And we'll see you next Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific time. Sunday we have Modus In. Monday we have nothing.
Not yet?
Maybe something else.
Is
I'm
it
not sure.
the
Go to the calendar. Go to the
Yeah,
schedule.
we'll have calendars
And
for
Wednesday
you in a
is-
moment.
Not yet.
Not
this
yet.
Wednesday.
But in a couple weeks, we started
Couple weeks.
Dead Rain, Moat still going.
Things are going
We got
quickly.
piratey stuff.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Ooh, song.
Big Bad Con is coming next month.
Big
October.
Bad Con.
Yeah, something like
Next month.
14, 15, 16, something like that.
Yeah.
Up in Walnut
Go there and
Creek.
meet Tina.
Yeah. Please come say howdy.
Where were you?
I was in my room playing games. I had the plague. I was patient 0 for the con. So if anybody got sick, sorry. I tried to stay in my room.
horses go, and the timbers creak and sag overhead. Like the worst nightmarish dream, I saw the darkest, blackest scene, and I knew then that soon I would be dead. People think me suicidal, but the boss man has a bridle, and he holds it with a grip both cruel and rough. For me children and me wife, I risk my lungs, my soul, my life. For the boss man, he pays me just enough. Keep your pity to yourself, bask in your megalots of wealth. Think nothing of the blood that feeds our wives. See me right there on the news, enduring endless interviews, while I wait here for the good air to expire. Oh, my labor burns a fire, sending power down that wire, so that you and yours in comfort won't complain. While the smoke it billows black from those tall satanic stacks, while I work here in conditions inhumane. But it's you who's cruel and mean with your gigantic plasma screen. Your conspicuous consumption drives me here. Behind your picket fence, as your porch light burns intense, you know nothing of our plight, our pain, our fear. Keep your pity to yourself, bask in your megalots of wealth. Think nothing of the blood that feeds our wives. See me right there on the news, enduring endless interviews, while I wait here for the good air to expire. They cry that something must be done for the poor old souls to keep us safe and well. Overhead in private jets, they ain't done nothing for us yet, as we toil in a blackened sooty hell. I hear workers overhead trying to reach us for we're dead, but those poor old souls more widows may create. And they work through night and day to find the air gap where we lay, so our families will have something to